Thank you all for coming to represent the recycling committee. Melissa, roll call please.
Shannon Barnett.
Here.
Fred Noble.
Here.
Jen Reimer. Here. Mary Ann Reardon.
Here.
And Paula George. Here.
5 for 5, great, okay. Public comments.
So I brought a suggestion for the code and ordinance, basically, of the EAC. Just some background, I spent about 5 hours with this and with AI trying to, gather information, how other EACs are formed, the format for such ordinances that other cities have. I wouldn't call it a counter proposal. What it happened is what Jana had was really, I think it looked like it was based on the Parks and Tree Commission. And our code has a variety of styles. Probably, Lord knows which lawyer did at what time and whom, whatever. So the only thing I wanted to show here, what I think this has value, is the fact that each, and this is how, by the way, the Pennsylvania code is also written, it's in the same style. So each item has a short title. And you can see membership, then it's composition, description, terms, description. Makes it a lot easier to follow when you look at the code. Now, in terms of the description, honestly, this is what GPT came out with, and it could be more or less, but I thought that, and of course that can be decided, and Chris, of course, will have the input on this. It's also very simple: membership, roles, meetings, very short and sweet. So it's, like I said, easy to follow. Another couple of words, I called it mission at the beginning. I thought that the terminology used in our code is creation of the community. I don't know, it sounds very godlike. We can call it establishment, we can call it purpose, in some areas of purpose. I thought for the EAC, the term mission is more dynamic. It's not just purpose of the commission, it's also advocacy and information and public community collaboration, public education. So it's more than just the purpose, and that was the thought. Like I said, terminology can be looked at, but I think the fact that each item has a short title, it's valuable. And what else I want to say? Yeah, no, I think that's about it. Yeah, the purpose is a little bit static as terminology. Yeah, that's it, I think. So, yeah, consider it. Like I said, I wouldn't consider it a counter proposal. It's just that it was. I looked on a lot of websites. It was there was a lot of research involved. So that's all. It's up to you. Thank you.
You do not think on behalf of everybody, we appreciate all the time
Thank you.
and effort you put into this. Is there anybody else who'd like to make a comment? Okey-dokey. We asked JP Mascaro to come and speak with us, and they were nice enough to come.
We are here.
They are here. Would you, I think some people came after you introduced yourself, so if you would introduce yourselves again.
Mike Ida, I'm the general manager for JP Mascaro & Sons. I'm the one that's in charge of picking up the trash, recycling, yard waste, and the annual bulk collection. So anytime you see the truck out on the road, those are the guys that are supervised by my team. Those are the guys that run out of my division. We've been servicing this town for many years. Trash, yard waste, and the bulk collection are new collection as of last year, I believe. So it's been wonderful working with Wyomissing. It's exciting to see a group of people that's actually sees what's going on, that cares what's going on, and knows about it. They don't just think of trash and recycling as secondary, something that should happen, right? A lot of times people look at trash and recycling like the stormwater. It's just supposed to go somewhere. and they never look at how it gets there. So, you know, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to have the committee to ask us to come out and speak. You know, I know my counterpart Jose, he's my operations manager, my number 2. He had some items designed and some paperwork and some numbers for you, facts and figures. I know some questions have been brought to him. Unfortunately, I don't have that information, but I definitely will answer any questions you have and then offer suggestions and report back with any of the reports that he was working on or that was requested at the time.
If you give me 1 second, he had, and I thought I had it pulled up, I apologize. He had sent me, I'm gonna forward it to you. April 10th. Can I see that? He had sent me, we had asked him to do an analysis of,
The weights per
That's quite the
development, subdivision, things like that. So I know he's working on all of that.
you should see my archive. Yep, that's the questionnaire.
It's not the one at the top.
No, it was just on. That was from this morning, when he was telling me.
But 410.
I just sent it to you, Donna.
You did.
So, why do I not have it? And it's not from that date, and it's either, which is the other place I would receive it.
Can you just do your word search?
That's what I was doing. Let me try and find it, Jeremy.
Do you have,
I guess the
one
baseline,
of the, Mr. Jada raised the question about whether we should reconsider how we charge
right,
residents
so,
for trash. And his hypothesis was that lower income people produce less trash, and perhaps we should consider a model where somehow we marry the amount of trash to the cost. But we didn't have any data, he didn't have any data, so we asked whether he had any data.
yes. So the data's been generated. Historically, the opposite is true. The lower income areas produce significantly more of all of the above than some of the more affluent. You know, there's speculation reasons why we would think that would be. You know, we can elaborate on those, but some of the more affluent people tend to go out to eat a lot, tend to keep their trash wherever they generate it from, wherever they're at. Whereas some of the lower incomes are buying more of the Dollar General disposable meals, things like that. Just generate significantly more trash. You know, I say drive through the center city of Reading one day and you'll see a lot more material out for collection than you do, you know, some of the more affluent areas around town, around parks. That's also partly due to the densely populated demographic that's there, but mainly just lower incomes are producing more material than more affluent areas. I know he has all that broken down. You know, we have our route maps, how they're designated to days. And he has all the weights and tonnages. That was his portion of this, his PowerPoint that was ready for it, but unfortunately he's not here, so we can get back to you with the definitive answers.
I think something else the committee was really interested in hearing more about is, you know, we put out to our residents effectively, there's a lot of things you can recycle, just throw it all in one bin and it gets recycled, knowing in reality, that's not how it actually works when it gets to the plant.
So the good thing is Jeff is here and he will be able to explain kind of where it goes. Once we pick it up, we go take it to Jeff, and then what Jeff does with it, I leave it to Jeff.
Again, for those that weren't here, my name is Jeff Aforementioned. I'm the general manager for the JP Mascaro Recycling Division, Total Recycle. So yes, certainly all of Mascaro's recycling, no matter which division it's pulled from, comes back to our facility in Birdsboro. We also service many different accounts, the city of Allentown, Lancaster County, and then there's a lot of smaller haulers in the area that bring their recycling to us as well. So our facility, we recycle, on average, anywhere from 400 to 800 tons of recyclables every single day, Monday through Friday, with about half that amount on Saturday.
Are you talking that's us, or that's
No,
everybody?
That's what I receive,
material.
yes.
Okay, got it.
So that's how much is brought back to your facility?
That's correct.
So I think we're interested in, of that comes back to your facility, how much is actually going elsewhere to be reused?
So what I can tell you is that of all of the tons that come into our facility, what ends up at the landfill, and you've gotta understand, this is not recyclables, this is trash that does not belong in our bins or in our pile in the first place. That number can be 8% to as high as 18% of everything that comes in is trash that never should have been there in the first place. As far as recyclables, we do it all. You know, everything we advertise, you know, with your plastic containers, number 1 through 7s, we collect, we recycle, process, and then move that material on for recycling. All the paper, all the glass, everything, you know, we talk about, the items that we want, we collect them all and have homes for them.
So just so I'm clear on that, I'm thinking, for example, the corrugated cardboard, which I hear if it's wet, can't be reused in that sense.
It's
Does that
incorrect.
go to, oh, I'm sorry, so.
No, no, I mean, listen, think about different communities where they still have the little blue totes, you know, that sit out at the curb. If it rains overnight, it doesn't mean our guys aren't gonna pick that up.
No,
It's still gonna get picked
I'm not
up.
questioning that.
Yep,
It's just whether it is.
it gets blended in. It's fine. To reprocess cardboard, for example, they gotta they dump it into big vats of basically soapy water and break it down because they want the individual fibers.
And do you do that at your plant,
We do
or
not.
you?
What we do is
give it to
separate that
others? Okay.
and bale that and then sell it to mills who are gonna
Oh, okay, great,
turn that into
great.
cardboard. Yes.
So of everything, after you get rid of the waste that shouldn't have been there, everything else that is theoretically recyclable, are you really able to pass most of that on?
Yes, I mean, that's within 1 to 3% that is losses, and some of that is because it's not properly prepared. I'll give you a great example, a peanut butter jar that's not cleaned
Right,
out,
sure.
right? Our machine is really fast to process that material. So we use optical sorters. They identify the plastic container by what it is. Doesn't read the number on the bottom. They look at the molecular structure. On a conveyor belt going 15 to 25 miles an hour, and 16 inches down, there's air jets that are below that material where it's gotta go. A jar that still has peanut butter residue in is gonna be too heavy, the air jets is gonna misfire it. So that's an example of something that is recyclable, but it's not properly prepared.
Okay. And the fact that we hear in the news that China's not accepting our plastic anymore, does that influence what's happening on your end?
Not anymore. I
Okay.
mean, that goes back almost 15 years, when China finally stopped.
Was it that long ago?
That long. They, you know, it started and then they had a hard stop the year of the Olympics over there. And that was a hard stop. They just automatically said, we're not taking any more recycled content in paper. No, it's just, there's
And
been
you
more and
have
more
one for it
companies
elsewhere.
that have picked up that, you know, domestically.
Okay,
So yes.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So your 1 to 3% of losses, what portion is, I mean, you said the peanut butter jar, but like numbers 3 through 7,
Uh-huh.
you actually have someone or a
Yes.
company that takes them?
Yes.
If they're cleaning and everything?
Yes. Empty is the key, right?
Right.
And this is, you know, it's one of the big questions that come up all the time, you know. I know when recycling first started, you know, you had to rinse everything, peel the labels off. There was a lot of work involved. The reality is, we're a lazy society. You know, if we expected everybody to do that, we would have very little recycling ever end up in our bins. So the industry's learned to deal with a lot of those things, and our end users have developed equipment to be able to peel labels off bottles, for example, so you're not doing it.
And rinse cans that have
Yeah.
soup or something easy
Sure.
to rinse out,
Yeah.
okay. So if you were going to give us advice on how to educate, the citizens, tell us what you would tell them.
I think our website really gives, you know, that full list of all the items we want
Right.
and can accept. you know, our biggest challenges are contaminants.
Okay, so we
You know,
would talk to them about
Contaminants
peanut
are the
butter
biggest,
and contaminants,
and it's even outside where we talk about that 8 to 18%
right?
trash that comes in. So that can be anything from an extension cord to Christmas tree lights,
Right,
garden hoses, concrete blocks, you know, you can go on and on and on of different things that we find in our process that never should have been there in the first place.
right.
They do a lot of different things. They damage the equipment, they cause us downtime, you know, so those are things we really want to avoid, you know, keeping the trash in the trash can, keeping the recyclables in the recycle can.
So you're saying soup cans with dried up soup or potato chip bags with grease still on the inside,
Fine.
that's fine, that's not,
It's not, and and I don't wanna focus on rinsing, because here's a great example that comes up. You know, you got the guys, down the street, bunch of, hang out in their garage on Saturday nights, and they work on lawnmowers and stuff, and they're having a couple of beers. You know they're not taking those cans in the house and rinsing them out, right?
Right.
So I always use the, you know, if you walk by our warehouse where we've collected all of our aluminum cans, soda and beer cans, primarily, it smells like a frat house, right? Because you know they weren't rinsed out. But that's okay. The industry has learned to deal with that portion of it.
That's really good to hear.
The main thing is they're empty. You know, so even a bottle of soda or a bottle of water, if they put the cap back on and it's got, you know, a little bit of liquid in it, it's still gonna be too heavy for those jets to blow it where it has to go.
So that actually, a couple bottles I've thrown in recycling lately, I've noticed the bottle says, please make sure to put the cap on before recycling.
Yeah, so it's a new twist in the industry. So it's the manufacturers. Let's say it's a detergent company. You know, they want to be able to say this entire package is recyclable, right? And it is. The question always is, if you collect all those caps separately, then what do you do with them? Because I can't take them. Because our machine's designed to deal with containers. Caps will fall right through that machine and they end up on the floor where we have to scoop them up and they end up in the trash.
So that should be on,
They can be on, sure.
can be on. and
Otherwise they're more.
Might not get recycled if they're off.
If they're on and they make it through our whole process, then whoever's using that material next knows how to deal with the caps and they can sell those caps as recycled content. It's gotta make it that far.
Caps on.
But they shouldn't be separate from recycling.
No, if loose caps are in your recycle bin, I can promise you they're gonna fall straight through my machine and end up on the floor.
Small
That I
items
promise
cannot
you.
What about glass bottles?
Glass bottles are fine.
Yeah, so, but I mean, when they go into the recycle, the guys dump it
Yeah.
and it breaks.
Sure does.
But that's all gets separated out
All
and
gets
it's still
separated.
recycled. Okay.
What about the flip side, too much recycled put in trash?
The landfill doesn't care.
The landfill doesn't care.
It
I
probably
mean, we don't
doesn't
want
know.
that to happen. Again, you know, Pat Mascaro, our president, will tell you that, you know, he's on top of that landfill multiple times a week, and if he starts seeing too much recycled content, we're gonna get calls, trying to track back where that's coming from. Because we don't wanna fill up a landfill with things that we have a facility right across the street that can recycle.
What about mixed properties, like a cardboard juice container that has a plastic cap on?
I'm sorry, public is not.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay, that's okay.
That's the question.
Write a question, write a question.
Write it down.
Can I have one?
Or to Janet.
I think it's easier if we
That's
just
okay.
ask it.
That's okay, sorry, we have good rules.
So I just got a question from the gentleman here across
Yeah,
from
he
me,
can ask it.
and, you know, he asked about Keurig cups.
Oh,
You know, the
good, I'm
okay
glad
cups?
you asked that, yeah.
They gotta be empty, right? And we got about a 50-50 shot. They're certainly recyclable. Again, it's the size that's a real challenge for us, you know, so they're a little small. But we do capture a lot of them.
So it's worth a try.
It's worth a try,
Okay.
right? So milk jugs or milk cartons, you know, is another one. So this is an area where I think, you know, you talk about informing the public. So a milk carton, for example, not a plastic jug, but a paper carton, orange juice, milk, that's called a gable top carton. We want those.
Oh,
And
gosh.
absolutely,
tossing mine out.
You can put the lid back on it,
Ugh.
alright, but we want those
Marianne.
cartons. In addition to that, there's another commodity that goes hand in hand, so it's gable top and aseptic cartons. So gable top usually has to be refrigerated. Aseptic would be like a box of broth, or maybe coconut milk,
Yeah.
Okay.
or juice boxes that don't need to be refrigerated, they're shelf stable. They go as well, where we want those as well.
With the caps on.
You can leave the caps on, right?
Okay.
So we do a lot of work with the Carton Council. It is a commodity that we work with them all the time. So we try and educate school groups, we use them to help us do that education, colleges, because we want that material. And it's another good story when people think about why is it recyclable. If you take a milk cart, for example, and tear it, there's an inner and outer, a real thin layer of plastic, but it goes to a mill where they strip all that down, and that inner piece is a huge component for toilet tissue and paper towel as a recycled content. And if you ever do that experiment and rip a carton open, you'll see it's beautiful white fiber inside. It'll all kind of come together. So that's where that ends up.
What do you do with glass?
So what we do with glass, so glass is certainly recyclable. It's probably the most recyclable commodity out there. It doesn't have a lifespan. You can recycle it forever. The problem is it has to be sorted by color, and that's very difficult in our operation to make that viable. So what we do is we repurpose our glass. We purposely crush it to a gravel size. So even if it's broken, it's gonna go through our machine. We crush that gravel, and then we sell that. We don't give it to, we sell that to our sister company, Pioneer Crossings Landfill. They use that as road base and day cover. So at the end of every day, whatever goes into the landfill has to be covered at night. The option is, if we weren't supplying them that glass, they would be out buying virgin soil and virgin rock from quarries. So we send them about 16 dump truck loads a day. And it's one and a half miles from where I generate it to where I'm dumping it there for them to use, versus 35 miles to a quarry and taking virgin stone and gravel out of the earth or soil to use in that same purpose. So instead of recycled, it's a reuse. We reuse it as gravel.
Can things like plastic water bottles or soda cans be crushed before,
They can be, yeah,
doesn't matter either way?
doesn't matter.
And
There's not a need to do it though, let me put it that way. Doesn't matter, they can be,
just because it's
doesn't
smaller doesn't,
take a
it's
lot
not
of
helpful to you.
space.
It's not harmful, it's not helpful.
it's not, in the matter of fact, it's the other way. It's better if they don't crush them, but it's still gonna go through the machine either way.
Some containers have several different components. Some will have paper plus plastic. Is that a problem?
You have an example?
A pasta box.
A pasta box.
Has that.
So that little
Has
window
that
inside,
window.
it's fine, it's fine. And again, it's because the industry has learned, so the mills that we sell that box to in a bale form, their equipment has evolved over the years to be able to take that out in their process. So, again, it used to be, you had to tear that window out.
And like you mentioned before, like the broth containers with the plastic.
Leave the lid on, yeah.
Okay. All right, now, who can get, a tour of your facility? I mean, do you have
we do
public
groups.
tours? Do you?
We do groups.
Okay.
So that's, the goal is we try and do a group of up
Sure.
to 15 people. So what I don't do is one-offs, you know, I just can't, well, I do multiple tours a week of our facility, and that's everything from groups like this, different municipalities have groups come in, we have environmental clubs that come in, flower clubs that come in, schools, colleges, you know, you name it. So again, it's the best way for me to get that information out, and for people to actually see it
So would they
from
contact,
start to finish.
should they contact you
Yes.
after they form their group?
Form a group and contact me, and we'll schedule a tour.
All right, are you people allowed to make videotapes during the tour?
Sure.
Okay. Then we'll get out a public meeting with the videotape. All right,
You could actually, I can provide you with a video of the entire process, what you're gonna see there, and
That's cool.
save that process, you know, you don't have the video. But we encourage people, take pictures, it's not proprietary, our equipment, it is, we think, state of the art. But, you know, if you had enough acreage and enough millions in the bank, you could put one in your backyard.
So if you could put the video, maybe you could post it on the website. as
Sure.
part of- That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, cause it is on our website, but I can make sure I give you all the links, and, anyone can see it.
Great. Without leaving your home.
Yeah,
Do they compost it anywhere at your facilities?
we don't here, we have a compost facility, A&M Compost, what's the name of that town, like,
Manheim.
in Manheim, PA?
Just
So that's, yeah, that's, different than like,
Yeah, I know.
What you're asking about.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, as far as yard waste and things
right,
like that.
that goes to
but-
our Souderton transfer
Right.
facility, where they have recirculate, make mulch, sell the mulch, things like that. But I don't think we have anywhere dedicated right now to take food scraps.
No,
You can find the email.
He never sent me results.
Okay.
I mean, he just indicated
It
in an
was-
email he would
yes.
have it.
Okay, alright. Anybody at the table have any more questions?
No.
Anybody in the peanut gallery have more questions to give anybody at the table? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, but you have
With
to,
regard to the,
you
oh,
tell
not
Jana
the peanut
and she'll
gallery, sorry.
ask. You tell Jana your question, she will ask it.
Okay.
you know, as far, I don't wanna leave without talking about, you know, we asked about contaminants and things, you know, if you wanna get information out to your residents,
Right.
one of the biggest, two things, we run 24 hours a day. The two things that keep me up at night are my employee safety, because it's a fast, big moving machine, and we have a great safety record, but it's still a big, fast machine. But fires are our other big concern. And these are not just, excuse me, we have them in the trash trucks, we have them at the landfill, and they're all rechargeable batteries. These things cannot be in the recycling, or should not even be in your trash. Because most recyclable or rechargeable batteries are only missing one thing to ignite, and it's oxygen. So if that case breaks in the back of a truck, or certainly in our machine, it will burn, and it's a chemical fire, it burns blue hot, very hard to extinguish.
What about regular batteries?
Same thing, we don't, we
They're
don't,
trash,
we don't
right,
take
yeah,
those.
they go straight to
They're
trash,
right
but
now.
are they, would they cause a fire?
They're not a fire
They're not a fire hazard,
But they are,
just
you get a
trash.
big old deep battery in there, it will jam up some parts of my machine, so,
Yeah.
yeah, they're problems for us as well.
That's what we, oh, yeah.
So it can't be recycled, but it goes, so it goes in the
Regular
trash.
batteries, trash.
Regular batteries are trash.
Rechargeable, no.
Rechargeable must be recycled, but not via that. Right.
Like, would you consider that
Electronic
e-waste?
That's
Yeah,
e-waste,
electronic,
yeah.
yeah, so that goes
Yeah.
to the county.
What's e-waste?
Electronic
waste.
waste.
Oh, yeah,
Old
okay.
pagers,
Yeah.
computers, rechargeable batteries.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah, they just
for-
had that this past week.
Yeah.
But I think Best Buy and some of those
Yeah,
places
Best
take
Buy, I
centers.
think maybe Staples.
Yeah.
Do you have, I know you sort of gave global data on how much contaminated recycle you get, do you have any more local statistics?
Local?
I mean, Wyomissing specifically.
No, again, when we receive our material, it all gets put into one giant pile. We have done studies, a few times over the years, they're extremely expensive, where, you know, municipalities have asked us to do a study and see exactly what we're getting from them. It is very expensive, because we have to shut the entire plant down, empty the plant, and then start over again. And if you bring in 50 tons of material, and we've done this, we will run that through our system, and we can tell you exactly, within 100 pounds, believe it or not, where all that material ends up, you know, on what the composition was. It's expensive to do that.
When the guys picked up recycling, and you know, or I don't know if they know what to pick, I mean, I'm sure they're just there to get the, you know,
Mhm.
cans in. But if it's something specific that you said, you know, they're putting in the recycling that should not be recycled, is there a label or something they can stick on, leave it there, or just leave it there? And then
Yeah.
they'll be called the borough and they'll ask.
So generally what we like to tell them is take it or tag it, right? We're not the trash police, we're not the recycle police.
Yeah.
But if there's something evident in there that's clear, cut and concise, you know, an entire pizza that's in the recycling, they'd probably tag it and, you know, mark it as trash. But other than that, tag it or take it. They're not in there to look through it, that's what Jeff does, he sorts the recycling. We
Right,
put it in the truck, send it there.
So
Right.
if they see a
But it's like-
recycling tote full of lumber,
yeah,
they're not gonna take that.
okay, they won't take it.
But if there's a piece of wood in the middle of that can, they're not gonna sort it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
I'll end up with that,
I'm talking about a pile of
yeah.
bricks or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, they wouldn't take that. Or like, generally, they're leaving behind, children's toys,
Yeah.
things like that, that are just clearly not the recycling. And outside of the container they leave. But generally, everything else they should be taken.
And Jose is very good about communicating with us. If they don't take something, sometimes he's notifying us before we even get a phone call, like,
Yeah.
hey, we did not take this and this is why.
Right, give it the heads up.
But when you
so
say
we-
tag it,
Yeah, we have
So you
non-compliance
actually-
tags
Oh,
that
you
are
do.
basically a two-part tag. They leave one copy on it, turn the other copy into the office.
okay,
So that way we have a record if they call us first, and like she said, Jose sends it to the township as well, so kind of everybody's in the know of what wasn't picked up.
okay.
And if you have any additional information from Jose, can you, we'll just put it on the agenda for next time?
Yeah, do you mind sticking around? I thought you said we were gonna hop around a little bit. It would make sense maybe to have them here to review the numbers.
Oh, then why don't we do the numbers next, if we're done with this topic? Anybody want to discuss this any further? No, thank you very much.
Again, you have my card, please, email, call, if you have questions, always willing to head them off the past and have them deal with them later.
And we'll hop to the numbers, and then you all are welcome to stay or leave as you choose.
So as you can see, March collection was about 30 pounds, give or take, more, kind of back in line with January. I'm not sure what was really driving that, which leads me to the recycling tonnage, which is down. Also not really sure what's driving that. So that's more than anything, I didn't know if you'd have any insight.
Yeah, so generally February's are down because of the days of the month, there's just less days, right? Yeah, we had 29 this one, but generally somewhere 30 and 31.
But in this case, February is higher than March.
Right, so I can't explain March yet, I'd have to go back and look at them kind of week by week. I wouldn't think that there'd be something missing, but it almost looks like there isn't a week for March, which wouldn't make sense. But generally the trash does start to rise, the warmer the temperature gets, kids are home from school, things like that. So the shoulder months, the winter months are usually down and they start picking up. I put March as an anomaly there. That one doesn't make sense considering that January was 82 ton. March
63.
shouldn't be.
Oh, yeah, January.
So who, should we go to somebody and ask them?
I'll let you know. When I get back to the office, I'll run it again and find out where the numbers are wrong.
Thank
Can you send me that?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think I sent that to you.
I can tell you, as a general rule, our recycling tonnage, which comes from all over the state, drops in the winter months. Once you get past the holidays, Christmas and New Year's, you'll see a little dip. Then the Super Bowl, actually, is a little blip. But after that, it starts to drop off, and it will not pick up again until the warmer weather, and that's, why there's a lot of different theories on that, whether it's water bottles or Gatorade bottles or more picnics, less laundry, there's a lot of ideas around it, but we know as a general rule, late January, February, March, and April even sometimes can be lower tonnage than the rest of the year.
Obviously the yard waste program started, there were 6.6 tons collected. And then that's the performance grant history, which, we've not heard anything back yet on our 22 submission, which happened in 23, and that's not unusual. Bulk trash event, which Jose did offer to go back and, look at the years where during the bulk collection week in May, those numbers got thrown in and not pulled out specific. I don't know that it's worthwhile at this point, but he will make sure that during this year's bulk collection week,
Keep them separate.
yeah, those are standalone numbers.
And can I ask a quick question on that? So I believe it was last year, bulk pickup is always that, kind of that first week. But the way the Hills yard sale landed was after the bulk pickup. And we usually do, so the Hills does, the yard sale the first Saturday.
Mhm.
So you get a lot of bulk pickup that Monday in the Hills from us, all the big crap that,
Yeah, I think that's how it was
Sell.
designed, pretty
Yeah,
much
right,
everything
that's how
else
it
sell
was
even
designed,
outside. and then
like
we-
that one year
Yeah.
it got flipped just because the way Saturday landed in the month.
Mhm.
I just wanna make sure that doesn't happen again, if there's a way to just.
When is the,
It's always the first Saturday of the month, so bulk,
Okay.
in May, so bulk pickup can always be the week after,
It's
the
May
first
5th,
Saturday in May.
before, and the bulk collection starts that Monday, so yeah.
Right, yeah, as long as it's always
So
the
we'll be
week
good this year.
following the first Saturday in May, yeah, that's, yeah. The week Sunday, we do it Sunday, and then they're still gonna pay out Monday.
Just so it's the week following.
It's always the week following the first Saturday in May, that would be very beneficial, otherwise, I don't know what's happening with all that junk. What happens with all the bulk, does that still just land in
goes
the
into the
landfill?
landfill, yeah,
It still just goes in the landfill.
yeah. Actually, we had
They put usable stuff out there.
oh, it's really crazy,
I
so
know,
this is
I got
actually
a slide in my backyard.
the past 2 weekends, we picked up Exeter Township as the host agreement with the town. We have a community-wide collection, so we send out 10 trucks 2 subsequent Saturdays in April, and we're picking up 100 ton worth of bulk items. But you go out there, you want a grill, you want a couch, whatever you
Yeah,
want, I mean, it's sitting on the road, it's
Something we
great.
should advertise, like,
Yeah, right.
drive through the hills on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, I've got
Well,
a lot of stuff out the hills,
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah, I mean, we and our neighbors always put it out a couple days early.
I always leave it out
Hoping
Saturday,
that
I
somebody
just,
else
yeah, I
picks
leave it out
it up.
Saturday,
Sometimes
so
with
it's
the
always
sign that
picked
says,
up.
take,
Right,
Yeah,
free
Very
Halloween. Yeah.
And then the last sheet is just the percentage broken down by year and then also by category. Does anybody have any questions?
Very much appreciate your coming.
thanks for having us. Great.
You're welcome to stay, but I can understand that you have other things to do.
Were you gonna ask them about all those numbers that we're gonna ask at the?
Not the numbers, because the numbers were taken from those reports,
Okay.
so there's no need to ask them about it, yeah. I just made up the wrong answers.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Recycling, was it the recycling question about meat and?
Oh, I fixed
Oh,
that.
okay.
I emailed that to you around
Got it,
9:30.
sorry.
No, that's okay, I just wanted to get not stuck to my computer all this.
Just one last thing, getting this information out to Wyomissing residents is challenging. Mailings don't always get read, et cetera. Some people hear the information better in person, and both of you, but your presentation especially, I learned an incredible amount. I'm wondering if we, at some point in the future, could set up some kind of, Wyomissing residents hear about recycling meeting that you might come and speak.
We'll do a presentation at the library.
Yeah, the library, your place.
I do that now for different areas, you know, I've done some for Lions clubs and things like that, so absolutely, if it helps to get the message out
Yeah.
and answer some of the questions, I'm more than willing to do it, whether it's in the evening or whenever.
Yeah.
Sometimes evenings
Right,
are a
that's
little
it.
better,
I'm
just
there
because-
tonight.
So, yeah, again, I think it's important to get the information out. And sometimes it's helpful, even if just make sure we have a link to our website, the Total Recycle website on your information. So, yeah, keep putting your bullet points out there, but they always have that reference point. And like I said, you'll be able to put the video on there, so they can look at the video, and they'll be able to get to our website.
Thank you.
If the next step is the review of the hauler performance, I will stay.
We can jump to
Yeah.
that, but I mean, there are no issues. I
No,
do Jose's quarterly report, I just sent it back last week.
Has your overall satisfaction remained excellent?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we get each month, is this,
Oh,
which
great.
who missed what,
Okay, yeah,
and it tells us the address, just one,
Yep.
you know, they said they took one can out the other. Yard waste hasn't been up for weeks, but it probably wasn't even
Yeah, it
available
gets
at that
tricky
point,
sometimes
you know,
too,
some
yeah.
people, yeah.
sometimes it's
So
a
that's
guess.
all, it's usually the
Yeah.
little things.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of people complained about yard waste this month,
It gets tricky.
but
Cause like, you know, sometimes what we run into is people know yard waste collection's on Monday, so they're out all Monday, and they leave a bag at the end of the day and think that we're still going around picking it up, but.
I know a lot of times too, there's issues, it's not placed properly, it's either
Right.
not bundled or it's not in the yard waste bags, like you cannot just dump your sticks in the street and they're gonna take it.
Right. And again, don't put your sticks in your flower bed and then expect us to know that those sticks were supposed to be pulled out of the flower bed. Things like that.
Was it too big or?
Sure, yeah.
Or
We're
too
gonna try,
many
the
bags.
black trash bags, don't put them in the black trash bags. It's unfortunate, you know, I think Hefty, Jeff, you gotta call Hefty and let them know.
Yeah,
They're selling these black trash bags and marketing them as yard waste bags. That never should those be going with the yard waste collection.
Contractor
They won't be
bags.
picked up, right?
Correct.
Good.
Yeah, generally they'll be left
Just
there,
not-
yeah, and that'd be a situation where it should be tagged, you know, unacceptable.
But yes, no overall complaints. but-
Good, and if there are, you know, everyone has my card, I think you got one of my orders, there you go. So give me a call, my cell phone's on 24/7, call me about trash, recycling, yard waste, whatever you want, but if you got something else, again, it's on 24/7.
You're sick man.
I know, right? Sit on purpose, you tell my wife, she gets mad too. Why is it raining? I don't know, I didn't call her.
the nature of the business.
There you go, right? Yep,
That's it for them, isn't it?
Yes.
okay, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Jeff will be back for a presentation, sounds like.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll bring you along, Mike.
Heck yeah, I'll be there.
You're my wingman.
Enjoy it, right?
All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the beautiful day out there today.
Thank
See you later.
That was actually a good time too, because this would be a
Yeah, thank you.
This is a good time to ask this question. Since Dave and I are not involved with R&R table, this weekend, but in terms of education there.
Is that an agenda?
Oh, I'll wait.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go on to EAC. We had some general discussions last time, talking about how many people should be on it, council versus regular people, things like that. We have a couple of different proposals in front of us, and that doesn't mean there aren't additional options. It seems to be unwieldy to address each topic as a committee. I would suggest creating a subcommittee to look at it,
To look at the ordinance, you're saying?
to
Look at the
propose
proposed
proposals
ordinance?
and come up with some recommendations, you know, for example, 5 to 7 versus simply 7. The different proposals on what our goals are. I don't think that's conducive to 7 people discussing. So I would suggest, is that making a subcommittee acceptable?
That's
to the members of the
fine,
committee.
although
Yeah.
I think perhaps get that done quickly, like the 5 to 7 thing.
Well, there's some that aren't,
Yeah,
but
okay,
comparing language and
yeah, okay.
then, you know, come back with a recommendation. I think there is the consensus that formatting is not really our job. I mean, this is going to go to the solicitor with council's recommendation. And he's going to decide the formatting, and he's going to decide whether to use which model within the ordinance, and that's,
Make sure the wording's legally correct.
yeah, he can decide whether it should be a commission, a council, and I don't think those are our decisions.
Okay.
Agree on that? All right, so are there volunteers to be on the subcommittee?
I would, I'm gonna be out of town this week, so if you need it later, somebody else should take that place.
And we have to have less than a quorum, so we can only have 2 on the subcommittee? Okay.
I mean, you can have non-committee residents
Yes.
on the subcommittee.
Okay. So
That would be Dave.
Yeah, but he's with me, my father's sick in the hospital.
Well, I don't
don't
we
think
got
we
this
have
week,
done
we
that
have
week.
enough going on this week, I really
Oh,
don't
okay.
think that this
Then
week
put us down, and
is,
if we can't
well,
make it, we'll let you know.
well, I would rather have more diversity. Okay,
But put
so I
me
would
down.
rather,
Okay.
I was going to, all right, so then Jen and Paul.
We can have a third person who's a resident and not a member of this committee, and that would
Correct.
not be a quorum.
Okay,
Show of
and,
hands?
well, given the amount of work that Adrian put into this, frankly, I would suggest that he be the resident on the committee, because he's given a lot of thought to these issues. Okay, so the three of you can decide when and where you're going to meet and come back to us.
Do you mind then tabling action, making a motion to table action?
No, I think we need to make a motion, well, it's not.
For now.
Yeah, we're
Tabling
tabling-
is submitting the plan to council.
Right.
Yes, so I move that that be tabled.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? Thank you. Alright, so I think that's what we'll do, we'll hopefully report back before the next meeting, then we can get to that. Alright. Earth 8. Go for it. I thought you said there's no update.
There really is no update, the information's been submitted and it's pending DEP approval.
Okay. Alright, 9. There are a lot of decisions which have to be made, and we're at the last minute, so now's the time. Alright. One, we're talking about having a quiz. At times, we talked about an additional event, but there hasn't been any response to my email about that, so I figured, given the lack of response, we're only doing quiz show. Alright. We had volunteers for different time slots. Marianne, you
Yeah, I could be there.
you offered
Like the whole day.
5:30. Greg, what
Yep.
did you offer?
Anytime.
Okay, and we had something like 10 to 11, 11 to probably 12:30, so people don't burn out. So I had enough emails, and I'll circulate that among the people who volunteered to give you your assignments. All right, so the questions, I am burned out on questions. So Jen offered to fix them.
Yeah,
And-
I'll take over.
So make,
Lessen the wording on the kids ones, maybe add a few in. Did you read my email that I sent at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night? My suggestion was to print them but not laminate them, as we have no idea if this is gonna be successful, and if it's a flop and we wanna go somewhere else and we could become an EAC, we wanna do this again next year, we would add a wider variety of questions, not just more on recycling, because we're R&R right now. So I was just gonna print them, and then we're not trying to wait mandate either.
Yeah.
Instead of mandating.
plus it's
I would also
very
hold
time
off,
consuming.
well, and I would
Yeah.
hold off too, because as of now, there's 50% chance of rain on Friday, or Saturday, and there's no rain date for Earth Day.
Okay.
I had a suggestion in terms of the questions in general. A lot of people are visual learners, and what we really want to do is educate. So that was very helpful. How about bringing a container full of things like a milk jug or, and.
Yeah, I thought I
glass.
would collect up some of
Holding
that, and
that
that
up.
could literally be a question, you can just put this on the table, is this recyclable?
Yeah,
No, here's why.
right.
We can do that, that's easy. Instead of the second game, we'll just have a visual to hear this milk carton is a recyclable.
So there'll be a recycling can and a trash can
No.
available?
Well, do we need one? We're not doing a game.
Oh,
Well, only if
okay.
you want the kid.
Brady and I
to
were a
throw it
little
in.
confused, because there was a lot of back and forth, so if you need them, we need to know by Wednesday.
Today, no, we're gonna decide now.
Okay.
That's it. This is it.
Well, for a kid though, I think.
They might enjoy throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to have them throw it, and then somebody's gotta lean over and dig them back
Yeah,
out.
I'll do that.
Just a clean,
One,
just one
of each.
recyclable.
We'll do,
And one
you want
trash.
one for trash and one recycle, right?
so 2 cans, they're gonna look identical, because we only have recycling cans.
Okay.
In our recycling, they're all green, correct?
Let's just
They're
make the
the-
recycling can, and then they can
All
throw
right.
it in the recycling can, and that will reprocess in their brain that this goes in the recycling can. If it's trash, they're just gonna push it over to the side. Simple as that, one
Okay.
can, one clean can, they can throw it in, so you just need one.
Now, there was
Make it easy.
a comment about the recycling cans. I don't think in Happy Hollow, I think they're normally trash cans. Unlike in the,
Picture.
unlike, it's just a can with the
Lid. Yeah. Well,
In contrast to what's in the Stonehouse or, Parklands, which have the two containers. And on the recycle part, there is a list of what can be recycled. Somebody commented that if we're going to have, thank God, recycle cans at Happy Hollow for this event, there be some sign listing what's recyclable, as there is on the on the recycled part of the double wide trash cans, if you will.
okay.
Okay? But then the question becomes, who has the responsibility for making that sign? And putting it on a pole and sticking it in the recycling can. I don't know whether that can be done.
What kind of lid is on the recycling can?
We don't have just recycle cans. They're gonna put some out in Happy Hollow for this event.
Oh, just for the event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't they have one?
Cause that park was probably redone before those other cans were put out in the parklands.
I haven't been there a year or more. So is it possible to get those too?
No, we're not.
There's,
well, but they're
one, they're
expensive.
special order, two, they're unbudgeted, three, they're expensive, I mean, there's,
Okay.
And
So you're
probably
saying-
the recycle part is not used nearly as much as the trash part, so.
I mean,
to
and
some
I can
extent,
tell
it's
you
a
from
waste.
the Parks Department, one of the issues there is because people throw trash in the recycling, trash fills up first, people throw trash in the recycling, and then all of it goes in the trash.
Well, that's what I was thinking, that the cover should just be a cover with either a hole like that for,
It is.
I would think all those
Mary
kids
Ann,
have.
it is, it is, and it doesn't make any difference.
No.
The
There's
trash,
some-
the trash is filled up much faster than the recycle part.
I've
And-
seen people literally cleaning their car out in one of our parkland parking lots, just
Okay.
throwing it all in the trash can.
Yeah, so we're not gonna solve that problem by Saturday, so the only thing we can do by Saturday is if we're going to put out the recycled containers, let
Get some
people know what
signage.
can be put in the recycled
Mhm.
containers, and that short list of what's on the recycle side of the double wide, if you will,
I don't know that I
seems
could
okay.
get that, but if nothing else, I could get the printout from Total Recycle that, like, it's a one-page sheet, these are all the things you can recycle.
Right, but I just want it visible so that before somebody puts it in,
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, we could laminate and tape.
that's fine. However you wanna do it, that's just,
That's
the point is just having
I
that
could
done.
Well, I won't be there, so I need to communicate
Well,
to
yeah,
someone,
That's
yes.
fine, that's fine.
I can take a picture of what's in the parkland and, email it to you, and that might be a simpler visual for people.
Well, I mean, I could go out there and do that for all of that, but then I potentially have formatting issues depending how the picture comes through, printing it. It's just,
Well-
we already have a one-page sheet for everything that's recyclable.
If it's complicated, people aren't gonna read it, that's all I'm thinking. If it's simple, you know, then,
It's maybe they will read it, hopefully.
before they put something in,
Yeah,
whatever,
we'll see.
whatever. But I wasn't thinking you could use what I sent you so much as there's a list of what, 5 things, 4
Yes,
things.
it's a short list.
Then you could have someone type it up, I could type it up, you could laminate it, and then we're done.
I mean, for all that, I need to go out, I'll be running through the parklands
Okay,
actually
very
Wednesday
good.
night, I will just get the list.
That's great, thanks.
Okay.
So when do they determine if it's, I mean, if it's not raining Saturday morning, my calendar says it looks like, okay, it's not gonna rain. But you're saying that it's possible rain.
When I checked weather this morning, it showed 50% for Saturday in the
Wow.
morning. Like if it's gonna, what they're saying now is if it's gonna rain Saturday, it's gonna rain Saturday morning.
So
Randy's
when will they call it? When will Randy call it?
Friday night,
When
I
he calls
believe.
Oh, Friday night.
He'll call it when he calls it.
Yeah,
Well, I just wanna know,
I mean,
will we
if,
get notified?
if
If
Friday,
you sign up for my recs, then you will get the email.
if Friday it shows clear and we wake up Saturday morning and it's pouring, you can.
Yeah.
And they're talking a 72% chance, and it's 800ths of an inch. So I think we're just.
Wow.
A drop or two?
Wow.
Sounds like cloudy with a little rain.
What a really in-depth weather report.
AccuWeather.
Actually, weather, yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the decisions we need to make for Earth Day. Is anybody, did I overlook something? Okey dokey. Paula had something not on the agenda that she wanted to discuss, and now she's not here.
Well, we need to do that after the meeting.
I know. Okay. On guess we've covered the agenda.
So, we're good.
The motion to adjourn? That's it. See you tomorrow.